Welcome to Reading Sloth. Another month, another stack of books been read. I read 4 audiobooks, 2 ebooks, and 6 physical books. I started this month off by finishing the audiobook I started in the previous month, Bone Criers Moon by Catherine Purdy. I gave this book 4 stars and I enjoyed it a lot and am anticipating the release of the sequels. I loved the mix of the different characters. We follow 3 different perspectives. One is Bastion, who is on a quest for vengeance against the group of females who killed his father. We have 2 girls who are from this group of females called Criers and Bone Criers. They get their names from the bones of animals that they kill to absorb their powers. We follow Sabine, who does not like killing animals and has always felt like she doesn't fit in with the group. And we follow Elise, who is the princess of the group and is going to take over from her mother when she becomes of age. Elise has always been the more powerful of the two, and she's a natural, but things go wrong when she has to kill her true love in order to progress to the next stage of the group. My favourite character from this was actually Marcel, who is one of Bastion's friends, who is also after revenge, as his father was also killed by a bone crier. Marcel was my favourite because he's always reading and he always has little facts of knowledge that he just loves to share with everyone, and I love to do that. This book has wonderful descriptions, it has twists and turns. I love the character development. All the characters are amazingly written and I love to see where they go in the next book, especially after the ending. It didn't quite go the way I was expecting it to go, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. How is the whole thing going to be resolved? The next book I read was The Light Fantastic by Terry Pratchett. I gave this book 5 stars and it is a masterpiece. This book is classic absurdism. It's very British. It's been described as the fantasy Douglas Adams, which is quite accurate in my opinion. It's funny, it's well written, the characters are really funny. Even though most people say you can pick up anywhere with Terry Pratchett, this book is a direct continuation of the first book, The Colour of Magic, as the first book ends on a cliffhanger, and so it picks right up. I actually listened to this on audiobook, which was a good route to take, as it really helped me get into the story, and the narrator was really good, and the jokes were just really funny. My favourite character of this book has to be the luggage. The luggage is its own character. It's really funny. Even though it doesn't say anything, it has a wonderful personality and it just pops up at the right moment and it steals every scene it's in. The next book I listened to on audiobook, The Wicked King by Holly Black. Book 2 in the Folk of the Air series. This carries on from the first book, The Cruel Prince, and so I can't reveal much of the plot. However, I really enjoyed where it's going, what it's doing. It surprised me a lot. I really liked the characters, and the ending was a surprise, and I can't wait to see what happens in the third book. I gave this book 4 stars because even though I enjoyed it a lot, it didn't have a lot of plot going on and there wasn't much motivation behind the plot. The next book I read was Only Human by Sylvain Neuvel. Book 3 in the Themis Files. So I can say even less about the plot of this book. It has a dual timeline, which I really liked. It jumped between two different parts of the story and really helped move the plot along. I gave this book 4 stars. It was really good. I still think the first one might be my favorite because one of the characters that was in the first book isn't in the third book, and I really liked that character. The next book I read was my favorite of the month, The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. This book has been talked about a lot. Brandon Sanderson is known for his fantasy books, and I can see why. This book shocked me so many times. I thought I knew where it was going to go. It still surprised me. It surprised me 3 different times. Something happened, and then I had no idea what was going to happen next. And then something else would happen, and then something else would happen. The ending was amazing. It wrapped everything up in the book. I have no idea where the rest of the series is going to go. I am really looking forward to it. This book follows a group of people who are trying to bring down the Dark Lord of this world, who has been ruling for 1,000 years. We follow Vin, who has these powers that she doesn't know about. We get to learn about those powers through Vin as we're learning alongside her, which I thought was a really good way to explain the magic system, because even though it's complicated, it's really easy to understand and to follow, and having that knowledge of the magic system, it makes it easier to understand how the fighting works. I gave it 5 stars. In the month of May, the new Hunger Games prequel came out. Now, I didn't get to it because I decided to read all 3 of the Hunger Game novels again. I gave each book 5 stars, and I can say that these books really stand up to the test of time. Even though they came out 10 years ago, they are still some of the best dystopian young adult novels I've read. I think everyone knows what the Hunger Games is about. It's about a girl in a game where she has to kill a bunch of people. The next 3 books I read were the Selection series. I've never read this before in my life, and I decided to give it a go because Books with Lala decided to read it, and I decided to hop on board. I gave the first 2 4 stars and the third one 5 stars. Once I started reading these books, I couldn't stop reading these books. This book follows a girl who's been chosen to take part in a competition for the prince's heart. There are 35 women who are all chosen to go to the palace to try and win the prince's heart. It's fun, it's light-hearted, there's a lot of antics, there's a bit of angst. It's sort of like trash TV in that it's so bad, but you can't stop watching, but it's actually not that bad. The final book I read was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This book I gave 5 stars, and it was amazing. This book has a little bit of nostalgia for me, as it follows a girl in England doing her EPQ, which is basically an extended A-level, which I also did, though this girl decides she's going to do it on a murder. Not quite your usual topic. This book has so many interesting characters. You get to learn about all their secrets, all the hidden details in their lives. Once there was a murder, the murder of Andy Bell. Sal Singh was the boyfriend of Andy, and he supposedly committed suicide 2 days after her disappearance. Her body was never found. Pippa believes that Sal was innocent, She teams up with Sal's brother Ravi, and their chemistry is really cute. This book was a real page turner. It had twists and turns, and once I got to the halfway mark, I just read the entire book without putting it down. I love this sort of young adult mystery novel where the stakes aren't really that high, but sort of high, and it's just a good fun read about a little bit of murder. I enjoyed it a lot. And there we have it, all the books I read in May. Not a lot of those were on my May TBR. I did not do very well. However, I did read quite a few books, and so I'm glad to see where June will take us. Thanks for watching, and that's that.